Hey everybody, welcome to our DIY virtual Crafternoon today. We are making Mod Podge fabric decorated jars, and I hope you guys got your kits. There are none left. This was a very popular craft, and I want to apologize because I somehow managed to completely forget to put the directions in the craft kits this week. They're in the craft kits for next week. Trust me, I made sure they were in there. I did provide a link to the instructions on the event for this program on the Facebook page in the discussion section. And there's also a link to the instructions on our website under About and then News. There's a little news article with the instructions as well. And after we are done being live and this video will be on Facebook forever, I will also put a link to the instructions in the comment section of this video. So let's get started. We're going to take our jar and we're going to take our fabric and we're going to lay our fabric the nice side down on our table. We're going to put our jar in the middle of it, and we are going to make sure there's about 1 inch on each side of the top and bottom. I'm just going to cut a little bit off here. And then we're going to roll our jar in our fabric and cut it to fit. So roll your jar, see where your fabric meets, maybe overlap just a little, and then trim off the excess. Kind of pinch it with your finger. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to make sure that our fabric covers it all. So I'm just going to double check. Perfect. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our Mod Podge in our container, and you're going to need a paintbrush or a sponge. So I'll give you a couple seconds to get that. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to cover our jar in the Mod Podge, the outside of your jar. And I would be pretty liberal with my Mod Podge. You have quite a bit, so you should have plenty to work with here today. So I painted about one side, and then I'm going to put it down on my fabric right in the middle, keeping that inch above the jar at the top and below at the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to finish Mod Podging my jar. That way my fingers don't get so full of glue. Hopefully. And you can really use any kind of jar for this. You don't have to use a mason jar. You can use like a pickle jar, like a small pickle jar. You could use a salsa jar, any kind of jar that's not like, that's rounded up. The ones that kind of are squared at the top wouldn't work as well, but you could give it a shot. Okay, so then we're gonna wrap our fabric onto our jar. And if you get a little Mod Podge on the outside, it's okay. It dries clear. Cause see, I did get my fingers full of glue. Course. And you want to pull it nice and tight so you don't have any wrinkles. Okay. And some of the Mod Podge is also going to kind of seep through the fabric a little bit. That's okay. Again, it's clear, so it's all right. And then we're going to put a tiny little seal on our seam here. I'm just going to put a little bit of Mod Podge right along the edge here where our seam is to keep it flat. And carefully smush it down. And then we're going to take care of our top and bottom. So I think I even have a little more than 1 inch here. But what we're going to do is we're going to cut slits around up to the, I'm working on the bottom, so up to the bottom of the jar. We're going to cut a few slits in our fabric. And what we're going to end up doing is we're going to fold them in so that we have a nice look, so it's not bunchy. So we have a nice look here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Mod Podge. I'm going to kind of put the flaps back. And then I'm going to Mod Podge the bottom of my jar. And we're going to repeat this at the top of the jar as well. And again, you can be liberal with your Mod Podge. Want it to stick. So then we're going to put the flaps down, making sure they're nice and tight on the jar. And when you put your second flap down, you want to overlap it to make sure it has like a nice little, I guess it'd be like a little pleat. Don't want it to be bunchy. That's the goal. Not bunchy is the goal. And if you feel you need to trim it a little bit, like I think I'm going to trim this. I'm going to make another slit actually. But if you feel like you need to trim it or add more Mod Podge, go right ahead. I'm going to put a little on top of my fabric here. And then just keep folding them in, making sure they lay nice and flat. Add a little more Mod Podge. And last one. A little more to the bottom just so we get a nice seal and it stays. All right, so now you could either let this dry or you could then start working on the top. I'm going to work on the top because I have to, otherwise you guys aren't going to see it. So it looks, I'm going to actually trim off just a smidge of the top here because it looks like more than an inch. And we're going to fold it inside the jar. We're going to make our flaps again, like we did on the bottom. Now I'm going to risk getting the table a little full of Mod Podge, and that's okay. I'll clean it up. Okay, so now, if you can fold it back a little bit, we're going to take the Mod Podge and we're going to put it around the top of the jar and inside the jar. So around the top edge and inside. And then just like on the bottom, we're going to fold in our fabric. Trying to get a nice little pleat from each section. You need to do some zhuzhing. Ugh. Fabric stuck on me. Glue. You can add a little more Mod Podge to the top and kind of smush it down in there. Make sure it stays on the jar. I'm actually going to add a little more. You can see inside there, I'm going to just add a little more to make sure the fabric stays down. Whoops. And it won't matter, well, that one just doesn't want to stay. It won't matter on the inside because you'll fill it with pencils or craft tools or whatever you feel like. I would not fill it with anything food related unless it's like wrapped candy or something like that, because this Mod Podge that I used is not food safe. Okay, there we go. And that'll dry clear. All right, to use my excess fabric to wipe my finger off. Your fingers will get a little yucky. All right, so then we're gonna put the finishing touches on it. You each should have a piece of felt that I cut. Now I did not cut this very nice, I just cut it quickly. So you're gonna wanna recut it. I am not the best with scissors, believe it or not. Can't really cut a straight line. I'm trying to figure out which side's a little straighter. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to cut this nice and straight. Not really so good. Okay, so we're gonna put it around the top. And for this, I'm gonna use my hot glue gun. If you don't have a hot glue gun, you could for sure Mod Podge this on as well. But I just, if you do have a hot glue gun, it does work just a little bit better. And it's a lot faster. If you didn't want to use the felt, you could find some ribbon at home. That would also look really nice. Or you could just leave it be. But the felt does a nice job of kind of covering up those pleats so you don't see them as much. So I'm going to take my hot glue gun and put some hot glue right around the top of my jar. And then attach my felt. Right at the top. A little overlap, so I'm going to put some more glue down. And then I'm going to cut off the excess. Okay. Now you could leave it just like this. I did also include in your packets or your kits some flowers. So you could add those on now as well. I'm going to use my hot glue for that as well. Just however you want to decorate your jar. Or if you don't want to use them, you don't have to. If you have something else you'd like to use, you can. I'm just going to put them on. Hot glue gun strings all over the place. It's one thing I really hate about hot glue is like all the little stringies. Okay, and there you have it. There is your fabric decorated mason jar. So I hope you guys enjoyed that today, and I hope you maybe make some more of them. They're cute little gifts. They're like really great for, like I said, like pencil holders or craft supplies. Thank you guys for joining me. Next week we'll be doing book page roses. So those kits are available right now at the information desk. Glue is included. However, if you do have a hot glue gun for that craft, it may work just a smidge better. but I did include Mod Podge in the craft kits. The instructions are in the kits. And like I said, those are available right now at the information desk. And that'll be next Wednesday, July 20. Not sure what day it would be. Let me check my calendar, everyone. July 29th. I don't know what day it is anymore. So July 29th at noon right here on Facebook, we'll be doing Book Page Roses. Thank you guys again for joining me, and I hope you have a great day.